What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 536. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And Brian Manjoma.
Wakanda forever, more like Wakanda never.
Wakanda. I fucked that up. Oh my god, Brian, man, what's up with this game, bro?
I have no idea, man, but it's a tough world out there.
Yeah. All right. You pretty much teased this. Let's get into it. First story we're going to talk about: EA has canceled the Black Panther game. But before we go on, this is not the Hydra game. That is a completely different game. Because there was a lot of confusion. So I wanted to just get that out of the way because I know someone's going to jump into the chat like, oh, it was Hydra, Captain America. You know? So yeah, they canceled the Black Panther game and shut down the developer, Cliffhanger Studios or Cliffhanger Games. Ooh. Brutal.
Oh, man.
You know? So I'm reading this from Polygon. It's the second round of layoffs in as many months at EA. EA, man. Let me read some of this, and then we'll get into it. Electronic Arts has canceled its Black Panther game and closed down developer Cliffhanger Games. IGN, which first reported the news, cites an internal email. Got the emails in which EA Entertainment president Laura Miele, probably fucked that name up, notified staff about the changes made to, quote, sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. Imagine you wake up and you see that in your email. Oh, that's a nice way of saying I was fired, you know, or laid off, as they say.
Yeah. And they're like, focus on what? I mean, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? How about you fire a couple of you guys at top and we can totally save a bunch of people's job.
But I love it that they write that stuff in this way. Like, you weren't the ones who made the decision to found Cliffhanger Games. You didn't put that studio together. You didn't go out and get the talent and tell them to focus on this game. And you're acting like, you know what? Nah, we have other focuses. We have to realign and all this like corpo speak bullshit. It's like you're the same one who started this project, right?
Yeah.
You hired all this talent. Well, I'll put talent in quotes.
Yeah.
You hired all these people, right? You set this project running, and then what do you think that does to the rest of the company, the rest of other studios that work under you? Everybody's now sweating, right? Everybody's like, oh shit, you know that again. What happened last month? Titanfall got shut down, right? I'll get that. 400 people got canned.
That's
it's
great.
Ridiculous.
Oh, hold up real quick. Got to give a shout out to our good friend, Mr. Gary Swaby, hanging out in the chat. You often see him, you know, very late for him. Even though to Brian, this is nothing. He's used to this hour. But yeah, shout out to Gary, man. OG Coalition, you know. And obviously shout out to Los and, you know, Red Pill Sleeper Cell, Dirty Death Dealer. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, no, Chris, I agree with you. It's bullshit. And I may save this for later, but there's a certain other company that's probably going to be next that's under EA as well. Here's another part that says, the email continues detailing that EA will now shift resources to the historically successful Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends series. Miele said that a game based on Iron Man is still in the works, as is the third entry in Respawn's Star Wars Jedi series and BioWare's next entry in Mass Effect. I didn't even know they were working on another fucking Star Wars Jedi game. Okay. And the new Mass Effect hasn't been canceled yet. So yeah, that's what they're focusing on, Manny. That's what they're shifting their focus to.
It's shifting their focus. It's like those folks.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stay tuned.
Look out! Quick, get it back up! Hurry! Are we all clear? Oh, okay, we're all clear. Great. All right, hit the red button. No, not that button!
And now, Freakazoid.
Says we're streaming, so let me know, Carlos. We have to edit some of this shit.
Loading. I got an ad, so.
Uh-oh.
So I'm
All right,
correcting
people. I
this.
think we might be back. Apologies for that. Literally, OBS during the middle of the stream just decided your stream key is invalid. How is it invalid if I was fucking streaming? That's fucking, it's bullshit. So if you're still in the chat, let us know. And apologies for that, even though I shouldn't be apologizing because I didn't create this fucking app, you know? All right, yeah, we're live. Thank you, Dirty Deaf Dealer. Yeah, again, bro, like, because sometimes OBS does this bullshit where it kind of just forgets the stream key, like in between live, like recordings. It's never done it during a fucking live stream, you know?
Yeah, we never had that before.
So hopefully it won't happen again. In the 11 plus years we've been doing this specific version of Throwdown, it's never happened. So I don't even know where the fuck we ended off at. I know we're talking about Black Panther, the licensing and all that. So you know what, man? If you could pick it up from the licensing thing, yeah.
Yeah, so from maybe at least to go back, I think maybe a possible reason why they might have cut down the Black Panther game is maybe because of the licensing. Because as we saw from the leak from Insomniac for Spider-Man, Marvel, Disney takes quite a big cut out of to do a license like that. So a possible thing is like, okay, they already have Star Wars and they have
Iron Man,
Iron Man game. So maybe that's what they felt like. Okay, look, let's just cut it down to these two things, so we don't need to paying these huge licensing fees for all these separate things. Don't know. It's just the theory.
So, because each license costs, like, they don't get like a deal, like, hey, here's the Marvel license, do whatever Marvel games you want. It's like it's per.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of the deal is. Like, like let's say we're talking about like a place like Hasbro that has the Marvel license to do toys. I don't know if they have they probably have an encompassing
That's what I
license.
mean. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what it is for something like this. Like, if you have a Disney license, can you jump into the Marvel thing? Do each of the characters, like, if you decide to do, let's say you decide to do a Blade game instead of a Black Panther game, does that mean, since Blade is not such a big to do character, does that mean his licensing fee is cheaper than what Black Panther would be? I don't know. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't work in that sector, so.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the fact that they had to close the studio down. So it's not even a fact that EA didn't believe in the game. They didn't believe in the studio. They said, fuck this shit.
I mean, what I don't exactly. I recognize the name, but I don't know what they've done that comes to mind. So
they haven't done anything. They were a new studio that
last
formed.
year.
Yeah.
Oh, they were a new studio that. So wow,
damn, they got fucking aborted.
Yeah, like so they were only made 2023, and they just announced
this is
2024.
Yeah, 2024, and it was just this project that they were.
Wow.
Okay.
Before that, there were mostly devs from Shadow Mordor, which is even more concerning.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Brian, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Shock and awe. Like, this is weird. Like, again, the studio's barely like 2 years old and it's gone. It's again, I don't believe it was like a financing thing, because again, it's EA. The third biggest publisher of video games,
something like that.
There?
Yeah.
Well, because there's Microsoft, Sony, then EA, probably, and then Tencent. So yeah, so in the top 5 at least, it's still up there. So if it was like a financing thing, then it's definitely some nonsense. But again, it could be a bunch of mismanagement from the studio, mismanagement from the publisher, or the publisher just said, you know what, we don't think it's as profitable, and then just axed it as well. So yeah, it's a damn shame as well, because I was looking forward to see what they could do, given what they did with the Star Wars game. Granted, it's not the same studio, but I would assume that there might be some crossover. Some people might say, "Oh yeah, look what they did with Star Wars. Let's try and do something similar," type thing going on. But I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, no, it's a damn shame. Was anybody, on the panel looking forward to playing this?
I didn't even know it was coming.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, same here.
Honestly, I only know the Hydra game was. I didn't know this was in
Yeah,
development.
yeah, I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew about it. I do remember when they announced it. I was curious to see what it was, how it was going to turn out. But I do want to make this comment. Obviously, I don't like to hear about companies closing. I wish everybody will get better job opportunities. But I will say this, for the people in charge of these studios, please come up with some better names for your studios, because Cliffhanger Games, that is not a good name. You had Firewalk Studio, that other game that Chris was a huge fan of. Those names, I know it's not funny, but man, those names, yeah.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
not a good one.
Yeah, Rich, you could definitely say this studio ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
No, it's a damn shame, And they remember they had 300 layoffs last month, I believe, or a month before that. And it's kind of segues us to the next. Ooh, who gave us money? Cool, subscribe. Thank you for that. Or is it is it Red Pill over there handing out subscriptions? He likes to do that. Dirty death dealer. But yeah, anyway, this segues us to the next story. That morale is at an all-time low at Respawn, obviously also under EA. They said their morale is down after EA scrapped 3 Respawn games in 2 years. Ooh, EA brutal, man. They don't give a fuck. So I'll read this. This is from Games Radar. According to one Respawn Entertainment developer, morale has apparently never been worse at the company after seeing several recent game cancellations at publisher EA. EA executed its third round of layoffs of this year just yesterday by scrapping its single-player Black Panther game and shutting down developer Cliffhanger Games in the process. Star Wars Jedi Survivor senior encounter designer Patrick Wren, good name, then reacted to the grim news by saying that, quote, morale has been at an all-time low in a new social media post. I can say that much. The declining morale at Respawn, the studio behind Apex Legends, Titanfall, and the Star Wars Jedi games, is likely due to the several game cancellations it's been hit with over the last couple of years. So what are these games? So there's a Titanfall game. There's a Star Wars FPS game. I forgot about that. And there was another shooter that they got rid of. So yeah, not fun. Not fun to be a Respawn right now. Maybe you shouldn't have, because EA bought them, right? Or did they go to EA? How did that whole deal work?
They were a spin-off from Infinity Ward, and I think they created and ended up in EA. That's where I guess they supported them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
They were the ones that got. I don't know if they got fired or they'd left, but there was some big hoo-ha back in like the old days of Modern Warfare, the OG, and they left that to make Respawn, and I'm guessing EA just bought them out because they were former Call of Duty guys.
Yeah, well, look how that worked. Very Faustian deal right there for sure, So, yeah, I'm not surprised, and we'll see what happens with that studio. Not good at all. All right, let's shift gears completely right now. PlayStation will indeed have an event in June. A state of, and it could be a state of play. So, obviously, June is not, formally E3 time. Summer Game Fest is going to be happening. Our very own Richard Bailey Jr. will be on the ground covering things. And yeah, so Rich, maybe you'll get to see Sony. We'll see. Obviously, we're not going to ask you to say anything. State of Meh, damn. Tell me how you really feel, Coel. Okay, so even though this report comes from I would say dubious source, Jeff Grubb, I think it's one of those.
Grubby?
Yeah, I think it's one of those predictions that's yeah, PlayStation summer event, really? Like, of course. By the way, shout out to Mr. Brett Murdoch who's joining us.
What's up, people?
How you doing,
What's up, Brett?
brother?
Hanging in there. How y'all doing?
Doing all right, man. Just talking about a report that says Sony's going to be having, or PlayStation is going to be having an event next month in June. Whoa, big shock there. A PlayStation event in June? Never heard of that.
This is wild. I wonder
Yeah.
what it means.
So obviously nobody knows what they're going to be showing, but I'm curious because, like we talked about on the show before, they only really have one game coming out this year. Like first party. I'm not talking about Death Stranding. You know, they only really have one. Ghost of Yote.
Yep, that's it.
So unless they're going to be dropping a bunch of games in November all of a sudden, you know, now that GTA's not going to be coming around, I don't know. Whoa, somebody else has joined us. That's a
The
camera.
TV terminal.
The TV terminal. I don't even see that on my end. I see a Logitech camera.
What the
You know?
fuck?
Uh-oh.
Well, you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you perfectly.
What the hell happened? Wait, what do you see? What the
Yeah, I see
put
the.
your hands together and say Guadalupe 3 times.
You gotta switch your camera.
Hey, everybody gets to see what we do before the show airs with Adam every week.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
It's always something, you know.
I'm looking.
I do want to make a comment on what you said about PlayStation.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
I can confirm the PlayStation is not at Summer Game Fest. You know, they may be at the presentation.
Yeah.
They're not at the actual event. So I don't know. I know absolutely nothing about what they're going to talk about. So I just want to confirm that right now.
Yeah. And by the way, Jay Shep, this I'm glad you're here for this, so you could just hear this. Because earlier on today, there was some news about how Jay Allard, you know, former Xbox guy, is working on something quote unquote revolutionary for Amazon. And Jay Shep was like, yo, I bet Tony knows about this. Tell me. I can confirm to you right now, if Rich and I tell you we don't know something, we're being honest. We don't know. Like Rich just said, he doesn't know anything about this. He's not lying to you, and I won't lie to you. You know, yeah. Go ahead, Adam.
He left the biz for a while. He started working on e-bikes in the Portland, Seattle area. Remember, there was like a whole other company. He just moved on.
Yeah.
So
and now this part, and I'm just speaking purely for myself because I like to be a little generous with you guys. Like, for example, if you ask me, Tony, are you reviewing this game? And I'm not reviewing it. But if you ask me that question, Tony, you're reviewing the game? I am. What do I say? Stay tuned. Because I'm not going to lie to you, you know. Saying stay tuned is not lying, but it's also giving you a clue like, oh, yeah, he probably is. So in this case, with Jay Allard, I have no fucking idea. Like, I literally didn't even hear about it. I got to do my research now. But it seems like he's just going to be doing some, like, smart home shit. You know, who gives a fuck? I guess if you're a homeowner, I've been living in a fucking studio apartment. Of course, I don't care about smart home stuff, you know, so I'm speaking for myself, you know. Anyway, so yeah, Jeff Grubb said he's making an informed guess. We all could have made that informed guess, bro. A PlayStation event in June. Ooh, never heard of that. It's crazy.
Does it work? Does it work?
Yeah, no, you've been on for a while, and we got the full crew.
Damn, why do you keep secrets? I'm over here looking at the settings.
No,
I'm like,
you're
this
fine
shit
now.
is working.
Yeah,
Oh, shit,
yeah.
Damn.
But Adam, look, we got Brett back, son.
Holy shit! It's a Guadalupe miracle. How you doing, man?
What up, brother?
How you feel?
Tired and pain, but you know, able to walk kind of more or less.
Well, that's good.
So,
That is good. That is an improvement. You want to walk?
hey, bro, I'm legitimately having to learn to rewalk. It's super weird. Like that sounds like such a melodramatic thing to say, but like, yo, I can hobble, but like walk right, like the way that I'm supposed to. Like, nah, man, I have to relearn that shit all over again. Weird.
Yeah. When I got hit by the van the first time,
The first time,
the first time, my knees it swelled up. There was all this fluid, And they were like, "Oh, we could drain it, but we might take some cartilage." And I was like, "No, don't." And they were like, "All right, well then you're gonna have trouble walking for a while, because then you have to just let the water flow out naturally." And yeah, I wobbled for a long time. I walked with a cane for almost a year.
My man was cosplaying as the Penguin.
Cane.
Yeah, right. It's like,
fucking Danny DeVito, you know.
Shoot, Manny remembers. Not only did I have the cane, but then I had a cast. Remember, my
shit.
arm was in a cast for almost a year, because then first they were like, "Oh, well, just let it fix itself," and then when they took the cast off, they're like, "Oh shit, that's not good." The bone healed all crooked.
Uh-oh.
Right. So then now they were like, "All right, we're just gonna do surgery. We're gonna go in there," and then they went and they put. That's why I got the. If you see the scar. Right here. So they put a metal bar in there. But then that meant another 4 or 5 months with a cast on. So here it is. I always had a cast on. And then I had my cane. And I'm like,
oh, man. All right. But no, we're very happy you're here,
I'm
Brett.
glad
And,
Brett's
you know,
here,
you're on
you
the
know.
mend, which is good. Even if you're healing slowly, you're healing. That's a good thing.
Yes. Oh man, it's
Yeah.
oh god, it's night and day.
And
So-
Brett, I also want to say this. I appreciate now that you're more cogent. We text more often, because before I was like, I kind of left you alone because like you were like incoherent, kind of, you know. But now you're back to it, which is awesome.
Yeah. Like I straight up went into the Odin sleep. People like I'd like people like what people be like, what you been doing? I'd be like, nothing, healing. And they'd be like, you're like watching stuff, and I'm like, no. Like playing games, I'm like, no. I've been taking drugs and sleeping, man. It's about all. That's it. That's it. My day is full,
Yeah, that's all you have energy for. Take drugs and sleep.
bro. It's I don't know how some of these people. I don't know how these professionals do it. Ugh.
He's about to pass out right now.
yeah, he might. You know, it's all good. All right, let's get into it. Speaking about PlayStation, days of play deals are here, people. Because remember, we were hearing these rumors about price cuts. Oh, they're real, but temporary. It's not going to be lasting for a while. It's from May 28th, which is yesterday. Yesterday.
Yep.
And through June 11th. So here are the price cuts that are happening with consoles. The PS5 Pro, $50 discount. Now it's $649. The PSVR 2 bundle, that also gets a $50 price cut. The DualSense controller, regular DualSense controller, is $54 at the moment. And there's a bunch of other little deals and stuff. Manny, anything
There's
you saw that caught your eye?
I mean, Indiana Jones is on sale
Uh-oh.
right now. Gravity Rush is like $9.
Oh shit!
They have a pretty. If you put it down, if you look down that list, there's a pretty significant a list of things that are on like super sales. Like there's like they say some of them they say like 90% sales.
Yeah.
Some of these games are like games that you've heard of and they're pretty good games and they're like for chump change, like $2-3, stuff like that. I think High on Life was pretty low. Let's see, there's quite a bit that I took photos of, I think. Let me see. But yeah, it was a pretty decent amount of things that still, you know, it's not like just like the garbage that they put on there, you know, that was on sale.
So the DualSense Edge controller is on sale for $30, but I will tell people right now, don't buy that thing. Doesn't have Hall effect. Like I'm at that point now when it comes to controllers. I'm like, if the shit doesn't have Hall effect, like don't bother. You know.
Here's a fun one. Agents of Mayhem.
That bullshit game.
$2.
Yeah. It's worth $2. There you go.
All right. Yeah.
Another popular game. Anthem.
Anthem.
$7.49. So you can get
Wait,
that.
how are you supposed to play Anthem? The servers are still on?
You can do co-op. I did that I don't know, maybe like 5 months ago or something. It was on Game Pass.
Oh my god.
And a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, let's play it." I'm like, "It's not good. Let's try it anyway." We played it a half hour. He's like,
Let's
"You're
try
right,
it
it's not
anyway.
good. Let's delete." You know, it's
Right.
free when it's free, you know. And he was like, "Oh, it looks good." I was like, "It looks good, doesn't play good." That's
Yeah. So yeah, if you're a PlayStation guy, there's some discounts happening right now.
There's some discounts, but I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you're a PlayStation fan, you probably already played a lot of these titles. But for people who kind of just coming into it, there's quite a bit of good games that are actually on there that I'm like, all right, these are like Steam type of sales. And then also if you have one of the tiers, the higher tiers of the of the PlayStation Store, you also get a little bit more off. So you're not PlayStation Store, but the online service they have, you get a little bit more off. So it's a pretty good a bunch of titles. I was legitimately looking through there to see what I might have missed out on. But granted, like again, I looked at all the stuff that was there and I'm like, oh wait, already on that, got that one. So
yeah, that's what always happens with me with sales. Yeah. J Shep goes, says Anthem's still going. I'm not gonna say it's still going. It hasn't been updated in years, obviously, but you can still buy it. You can still play it. It's in better health than Concord, because it's still around. Because it's still around. Oh man, Manny? I think you sent us that story about the Concord guy who like donated his like launch game or something like that.
Yeah, one of the developers had gotten a plaque for shipping Concord, and apparently he just gave it to sold it to Goodwill or gave it to Goodwill.
Damn.
So right now, at least as we're speaking, the auction price on it is like close to $3,000.
It's a collector's item, though. That's it.
It is most definitely a collector's item.
Yeah.
It's
and a talking piece. He's like, oh, what was that? Well, let me tell you.
It's literally the game disc framed with the dev's
cool.
name. Now I noticed that none of the what do they call it? None of the journalists out there have actually contacted this specific person yet. Because his name is on it.
Oh, really?
It's on the plaque.
Yeah, it's on the plaque. Yeah.
So it belongs to somebody. Like I'm wondering why. Maybe he's like, I'm done with the game industry. This shit like that. It could be that, or whatever. But it'd be interesting to see. To talk to him and get a little bit of get a little insight. He's probably not working right now.
Maybe he doesn't want to talk. That's why he's bitter.
Maybe that's it.
Shit. They're like, hey, we want to talk about boo. He just hangs out.
Also, the other thing is that like they don't give those things away to just anybody. Like those, they had like 200 something people. Did they make, or maybe more people, 400 people? I don't remember who was at that studio. So, what is what is the deal with it? Like, did they give it to everybody, or did you just give it to some people, some main staff? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to look at it because it didn't ship, right?
Yeah. All right. So there's that. Next story here, another PlayStation story. And you guys may have heard something about this. Maybe years ago, we may have had a certain person on Throwdown about 5 years ago now talk about something like this. So I'm going to read this. This is from comicbook.com, and then we'll get into the fun stuff. And this is a rumor right now report, so take it how you will. According to a new report, PlayStation is working on major updates to the PS5 Pro, including an improvement that should go a long way in upgrading the experience of playing PS3, PS2, PS1, and PSP games on a console. The report comes by way of Moore's Law is Dead, a fairly reliable source when it comes to the PS5 Pro specifically, having provided accurate PS5 Pro information in the past before it was revealed. Moore's Law is Dead is also pretty spot on with other tech news, so that's why I'm kind of reading. I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy kind of knows this stuff, There's a bunch of other stuff I'm not going to bother with here. We'll skip to the good stuff. According to the aforementioned source, Sony is preparing an update to the PS5 Pro PSSR that will allow it to upscale lower resolution games, which in turn means PS3, PS2, PS1, and PSP games will look and run better on the PS5 Pro, at least in theory. There have been plenty of issues with PSSR since the launch of PS5 Pro, with many games being negatively impacted by it. This is not so much a problem with the technology as developing for it. To this end, the report also claims that Sony is attempting to make it easier to work with the development side. You know what this sounds like to me? Carlos, you know what I'm going to say?
Do it.
The remastering engine.
But it also sounds like desperation. Like, I guess this console isn't selling this half breed because at this point, let's just wait for the next one. Let's just wait for PlayStation 6. Like, why can't we just get that?
Yeah.
Well,
No, but I mean, this is a
what are you gonna
feature.
play?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, like
Yeah.
this generation is so goddamn disappointing. Why would you upgrade?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Like-
doesn't make any sense unless they're like, damn, we gotta sell these shits. All right, you got anything that we could spit on this? Yeah, we got some. Then do it. Just fucking run the software. Push that patch. Hurry up. We need to hit quota.
But Chris, to your point, this generation is so bad that they have to do this. They have to basically upscale old games to get people to get interested in a new console.
Well,
Think
that's
about
what they
that.
were selling it on. You're already upscaling old games.
Yeah.
Oh, play your PS4 games. Oh, look at these options. 4K. You know, you're already doing that, so you might as well
Shit.
just do the whole goddamn library.
Think about it. Their
got
hype for
nothing
this
else.
was Days Gone. Remember, it was like they were hyping this Pro with an old game. So
Yeah. So again, we'll see what happens. But obviously, Hip Hop Gamer went out there and he was like, "Yo, who reported this first?" He does on Twitter all capitals and everything, because obviously a bunch of websites started kind of jumping on this story, going, "Yeah, they kind of corroborating it," and he name checked everybody. Like who started it first. So very interesting. So maybe he will be vindicated after all.
But I mean, it's all they're
Wait.
saying is it's ups. All they're saying though is it's upscaling. It's not saying it's like getting PlayStation 3 games or 2 games to run on the damn like at least 3 games to run on the damn console.
That's right. Yeah. 'cause
Nowhere
it-
in that
yeah.
nowhere in that report it just says that. That could just be running their friggin' their streaming
Was it
service and
PlayStation
then just
Now?
rushing. Yeah, and then just running the PSSR on top
Yeah,
of it.
could be that.
That's,
Yeah.
There's no remastering going on there. Maybe
Yeah. What were you saying, Brett, about Hip Hop Gamer?
Oh, I mean, just like, it. I mean, if you get it after this amount of time, like, I don't know if that's even still considered like calling it. Like, Bro's gonna call the remastering engine until AI comes in and actually develop like some sort of fucking AI overlay remastering engine. They do like, see, fucking called it. Like, bro, it's just. Yeah, they're gonna do something that like shines up their old stuff. Like eventually you're gonna be right on that kind of thing. But
I think
like
that was like 2 years ago, right? When he said that.
No, it was 5 years ago.
No,
Five
this was
years.
before
beginning
Look
of
at that
this, yeah.
shit.
No, this
He
was
said
before
that
the PS5 even came out.
This was before the pandemic, though. Literally 2 months before the pandemic. We had him on the show to talk about it.
No, I remember. It
Yeah.
was some drunk guy at a party that told him. Remember? He was like, the guy was just like getting real loose with the
Oh,
lips. And like,
right.
"Yo, I did this and I'm working on this and my grandma likes this. And it's like, so that guy just opened up to him.
Yeah. So there.
I think
yeah.
he just got some false information, and eventually, like some will eventually line up. But like, I don't know if I call that a win, man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Love Hip Hop Gamer to death, but it might be a situation where he just got lucky. Although I will and I've said this before when we talked about this, I don't doubt that somebody at Sony told him something like that, but he didn't tell him this specific thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, we got something in the
I'm
works.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I don't think he's making shit
No,
up.
no,
I
he's
just
not.
think
Absolutely
like,
not.
the thing that he got told, like, it didn't manifest, right? Like, and I don't think that like we're gonna see that manifesting 5 years later and that still be the same project.
No, absolutely. Although, these reporters are not going to do it, but it would be nice. Like, hey, Hip Hop Gamer talked about this 5 years ago. A little something, but they're not going to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Speculated.
It'd be nice to throw it in there,
Yeah.
especially when you've been beating that drum. Like,
Yeah.
like, I admit that. Like, I'm just saying, like, no, hey, just like don't like like flex a little bit, like, but don't throw yourself a parade, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. What were you
Yeah.
going to say, Carlos?
I mean-
and while you do that, let me look up the tweet.
I don't doubt that he heard something behind closed doors that alluded something similar to this, but he accentuated like everything else, like because I remember we were that discussion. I even asked him because I was a little dubious, And I'm like, so you're telling
A
me
little.
that I can put in, you're telling me you can put in your PS3 or PS2 disc into your PS5 and it's going to do all of this and it's going to work. And he said, yes. And I'm like,
yeah.
all right, that's the standard. I mean, because the stuff that it's like, oh, well, you know, games, you can play old games and it's going to look better. I mean, PC's already done this. So it's
Yeah.
you gotta reach to do a 1-for-1 confirmation of what hip hop was saying. It does sound a little similar, but you know, there's a lot of other qualifiers that were added in that conversation that haven't yet been confirmed. Which you know, you never know.
Yeah,
my only thing with that is like you're talking generative assets, right? Like you're talking like it's not just gonna like upscale textures, right? Like again, unless you're talking to AI, and I hate that, but like AI can be predictive of what you're trying to do. It can like there's ways that it can do that, but if you're talking about like a completely hands-free thing, like you're rendering assets and something's got to render those assets. That's just until AI like becomes a thing. Like I don't know what's doing that upscaling. I don't know where those upgraded textures are coming from. I don't know where that upscaling is coming from. Yeah, like like we've all said, or especially like I said, like you could do that. PC's been able to do that. I think that Sony was probably looking into it. But I think probably the reason they didn't do it is because there wasn't the tech there to just kind of, generatively upscale things that didn't have like we can go back to 35 millimeter and get HD pictures off of the original 35 millimeter film, right? Like we can't just take a digital copy of an old movie and enhance it like that. We don't have the enhanced technology. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Did you guys see
what's up?
What's the Black Mirror? There was a Black Mirror in this season. There was a new episode, and it had something similar to all this. Like, what if we can take an old movie and add a modern actor into the movie? Just throw them in, and the AI will just work around. Like, it was just so crazy, but that would be the future if we could do something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's already going on. There's
is
this video
happening.
I saw on Twitter of like fake influencers and stuff. I don't know if you guys seen this.
I've seen it.
It's ridiculous.
I've seen it. It's crazy, but we're not going to go down that.
Past the threshold.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. People are saying, "Oh, we're 5 years away." No, we're not. We're like 5 weeks away, and I may be being conservative. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
Bringing back Max Headroom.
The comment from Weapon X himself, Mr. Reggie Butler. Here's what I told Hip Hop Gamer a long time ago. No one is denying that he saw. No one is denying what he saw or heard something. But if the company doesn't put it out there, it's hard to get people to believe it. In short, if no one promotes it, no one will know it. Yeah, I mean, again, this is all rumors. So this is his tweet. I got to read the tweet here from Hip Hop. PlayStation 6, along with PS5 Pro and PS5, featuring AI-enhanced classic titles, is confirmed, and it's based on my initial year 2020 story. Then he calls out people. Yo, Foxy Games, great coverage as always, but correction to bro, this is my story. See updated video below. Moore's Law is Dead does amazing coverage as well, but he's not the source for this. Comic book, great work, but once again, I'm the source for this. Please make direction. And he goes, remember, I don't do the what ifs or the rumors. I confirm and stand on business on the things I say when I post. Thank you. So he doesn't do rumors. He confirms shit, people. So we'll see. But Sony will find.
Does it in all caps.
Yeah, he does it in all caps. To his credit, not in all caps this time, but every single word was the first letter was capitalized. So we got to work on that. Anyway, yeah, go ahead, bro. We're gonna say, and then we'll move on to the next section.
Oh, I was just asking, like, was AI even like the jump from AI was so staggeringly fast. Like, I don't know if you could have called this shit in 2020. AI enhanced,
Yeah, he didn't call it that. He didn't call it that back then. No, I don't think anybody could have predicted that shit.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't do that shit without some sort of like AI.
Yeah.
And so like I'm just kind of I believe he heard something, but like it wasn't this. It could not have been this
But
project
No.
because like the tech
this was
did not
also
exist.
this was also partially based off of a patent that Sony had PlayStation had put out, or essentially using the modern consoles to essentially essentially emulate hardware emulate a PlayStation 1, 2, and 3. So it's partially based off of that thing too. So the thing about patents is a lot of times it's just theoretical. It's not actually anything there, right, Chris? Like you can draw out a patent and not have any sort of working
Yeah.
hardware
Oh,
or
there's plenty
anything.
of stuff like that. There's plenty of concepts that have gotten patents that don't. There's no product. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Sony has filed horrifying patents too. Like both Microsoft and Sony have filed like horrifying things, like like your ability to spy on your ability, like but like look, I'm saying that like I think that, and the reason I'm beating this drum, it ain't to be throwing shit at hip hop. Love hip hop, great dude. The reason I'm pointing it out is because like I feel like this is an altogether different beast. I feel like we're not talking about an upscaling engine. We're talking about AI, right? And that's just, it's a
Yeah.
whole different conversation. Like an upscaling engine, you know, via 2025, what we were talking about would be something could like like tweak and optimize and make things crisp and like the kind of shit we're hearing about here, where like it just makes it run smoother and more optimized with clearer pixel counts and higher frame rates to more emulate the classic CRT TV experience. Like that would be one thing, right? But this shit with AI, that's a different thing. And I kind of feel like hip hop took the idea of, kind of the upscaling engine, right? And like ran with it a little bit, and then technology had to play some catch up. So now that we're here, I'm like, nah man, like I feel like this is a different thing. I feel like this is a different discussion. And I'm not sure if I'm happy about it or not, because like bro, I'm with that with a lot of people. Like AI is fucking terrifying. Like that shit's coming for all of our jobs.
Hey,
Like
you're
they're
on my
simulating
side now,
street
Brett. Let's
interviews.
go.
Dude, bro, they're simulating street interviews and shit. Like, bro, we all cooked. Like,
Ah,
they coming for everybody.
I've seen it. I've seen those. Like, bruh.
So yeah, I'm like, that'll not only be like that as a tool, that with the like an AI generative tool that gives consistent results. Like, yeah, you could have an AI upscaling engine at that point, but you could also have games that are, you take procedural generation to a whole new thing, right? Like, you could have a virtual game world with an open D&D game master. In fact, there's a lot of people that made the original Elder Scrolls that fucking bailed, and they're working on something very much like that. And procedural generation is going to change to kind of an AI game master. So like I think just saying like, oh, this is the upscaling engine, this is the remastering engine. Um, I think that cuts out core parts of the conversation that we should be having.
Yeah.
So yeah, this isn't just to be like, yo, hip hop, I don't know if you write about this. This is just like, yo, man, I think this is a different discussion, and we should probably be having that different discussion, like as a community, because this shit is gonna be wild. Like it's gonna be good, bad, and everything fucking in between, right? Because I got mixed feelings
Well,
about this, right? Like we're talking about an age where uh companies charge you $30 for a fucking skin, and then if you get AI to generatively create things, like I mean, maybe that's a win for us. But again, that's a whole different discussion that
so
I think we
like
should have.
I mean, at least this thing for now is just talking about using PSVR,
Yeah.
PS,
PSSR. Yeah.
PSSR to just upscale old things. So it's
And that's
nothing
what I
different.
think the
It's
remaster
not
engine is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not even a remastering engine. All that is just running an upscaler on it. It's pretty much what they're doing on their own titles to run them at the 4K, right? You run the SSR on there. But like as far as like the idea of you are definitely right. These are two different conversations
Yeah.
because we're not talking about getting these games to run. They're just talking about taking whatever's running on their damn thing right now and upscaling it
Yeah.
and
All right.
generating frames.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, 'cause I had to read this because this is something you rarely see. Cool, Mr. AMD himself, giving praise to NVIDIA. Never thought I'd see the day. He goes, NVIDIA has had this kind of technology for a while, to be fair to hip hop gamer. It's true. Yeah, they have.
You're talking about temporal injection, which a lot of PCs have been doing. That was something that's about as old as that conversation with the remastering engine as well. But
I do remember that.
Cases of temporal injection back in those days, where in other words you're essentially hijacking the signal hijacking the asset before it actually gets to the screen. So what you do is you have there's so many things right now that are actually doing that sort of thing, where like they're essentially replacing all of the assets, and they're as long as you have your second batch of assets matching with the other ones, it'll replace everything with there. You could have brand new lighting. It's how they've been injecting like ray tracing into something like Max Payne, stuff like that. So the thing is, those sorts of things, to do those sorts of things, temporal injection, somebody has to sit there and literally do the work and point these things to the right locations.
Yeah, so Manny, here's the interesting thing. I mean, and QL says it's like adding ray tracing in old games, but that's I don't think that's not how it's gonna work, because a lot of the textures have baked in lighting. So you're gonna have to remove, or the AI or whatever is gonna have to remove all of that stuff.
Yeah, so again, they do have it. It's something like Max Payne, but it really doesn't work like amazingly, because those textures were not authored for something like a ray traced environment. It's they painted the lighting on Max's face and stuff like that. So,
and then they gotta fix all the hands. They gotta add the 6 finger. You gotta do the upgrade. That's how we look at now.
But again, you can do as far as like
Mm-hmm.
a good example of this would probably be like what is it? The Skyrim, the Oblivion remake with Skyrim. That's using a lot of that stuff that they're doing with that, to essentially hijacking the signal and changing all the assets out. So, but again, you need somebody there to author all of that sort of stuff, to sit there and be like, okay, this asset matches with this asset. This is what this is. You don't, do this and that. It's a little bit like, and we talked about this before too. It's a little bit like what they're doing in Oblivion Remastered, or what they did with the Shadow of the Colossus Remastered, where essentially they have the original game running in the background, and then they're using another engine on top to be the renderer. So for Oblivion, they're using Unreal Engine, but the original game is running underneath it. Same thing with Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus, the original game is running underneath it, and it's all that game is game's physics and everything is all driving the renderer, which is whatever Bluepoint's actual engine is called. I can't remember what it was called.
Man, I love it when they do that. But to be honest, it's a nice way to sort of kind of do this sort of stuff, where it's like it plays like the game that you originally remember, but it has all these nice looking things on top of it to, essentially Oblivion is just about as janky as it was, but it's not as janky, but it does have a sexy new coat of paint on top of it. Yeah. It's great. My fear with the whole thing is like, I would love for them to come out and be like, yo, we came out with this thing. It's going to upscale all your games. It's going to use generative AI. It's going to, it's basically going to make Oblivion and just turn it into Oblivion Remastered all automatically, right? And so I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, so when greedy game companies, when they get a hold of that technology, they ain't gonna just like pass it on to us and be like, enjoy your new upscaled games. They're gonna use it to create really low overhead remasters that make them huge amounts of profit and still cost us, a significant upcharge from the original game. Like it's not necessarily a great tool unless it's kind of democratized, which it's not. So I'm really more afraid of this being AI being something that's not gifted to us, but kind of held away from us and just used to replace developers.
So the dangerous version of this is the one that Microsoft suggested, which is essentially running a game and essentially having AI replicate all of the, in other words, playing through the game and running it through AI. I think I forgot it was Agents. I can't remember what game that they trained it on. We talked about this before.
I remember, yeah.
So essentially essentially recreate the visuals and supposedly recreate the controls. So you're not controlling the actual game, you're controlling an AI duplicate of it, which is weird. But I feel like that one it's almost like, at least for the way AI, stuff works now, it's all just video. So it's an idea that you're controlling a video that's sort of emulating the controls and all that sort of stuff, which I don't really believe it can really do. At least at this point. And what Phil considered this is preservation. That's not preservation. You're playing a monstrosity. You're not playing the original game.
I like that. All right, man. Moving on here. Still on the rumor tip. So again, rumor. Take it how you will. A leaker claims that Sony is now working on a new PlayStation handheld console. People. All right, so here we go. That's according to a leaker who has claimed that Sony is currently working on its PlayStation Vita successor. I don't know about that, which could be announced by 2028. Sony is said to be, quote, evaluating a new low-power gaming SoC, system on a chip, which is being internally referred to as, the console is being referred to as Jupiter, and the company wants AMD to develop the chip. And here's another quote. The chip is expected to be developed by AMD and fabricated using Samsung Foundry's SF2P node, which with mass production targeted for post 2028. So obviously this is still rumor, but if it's true, I'm inclined to believe it because the toe dip worked. The toe dip being the PS Portal. Sony just put out this kind of garbage thing, and it sold a lot. So they're like, yeah. So now they're like, hey. And everybody else is coming out with handheld consoles, so we're gonna try it too. So.
But it's also working on all like the ROG and the Steam Deck. I mean, people are gobbling up all those PlayStation exclusives on those platforms. So I could see why.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Brett?
Well, at this point, they're playing catch up, but like, so AMD, I love AMD. I've been an AMD guy since back in the day, right? But let's all be honest, like Nvidia have been trouncing them for a good damn near a decade now.
Brett, before you go on, remember we're talking about handhelds, and AMD's chips are the best for handhelds so far. Nvidia only really like Nvidia only, their chips are only in the Switch, I believe, for handhelds.
I didn't realize that they made it better handheld chips. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also AMD is also in all the consoles, aren't they?
It's in the PlayStation and Xbox, but not the Switch. The Switch is the only kind of outlier using Nvidia. So keep
the only real consoles.
The only real consoles. Yeah. So Brett, just keep that in mind before you go on.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, AMD just seemed to like really get their shit together recently. So I was gonna say, like, if this is using old AMD technology, then I was gonna be a bit concerned. But you're telling me it works. Like they're the ones that are in a lot of handhelds. And like, bro, you review this shit. You know your shit. Yeah. So like, I'm gonna believe you.
You love the Steam Deck, right? Guess what that has in it? AMD chip.
Really?
Yep. And something.
I think I do that, but I didn't know the Ally ran off of one. I thought for some reason I just thought that shit would have run off Intel.
Nope. So the MSI Claw, right? One of the few handhelds that actually runs on an Intel chip is terrible compared to the other ones. terrible compared to AMD.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Brett,
No,
just
that's great. Like, I'll be
yeah,
honest.
go ahead.
I want like, look, Intel started like, or they uh seemed to kind of like pull ahead. Like AMD started seeming to lag, and it didn't seem like a race anymore as far as like PCs were concerned. But then AMD come back, and they like their new tech is just fucking banging, man.
Yeah. And Brett, just
So
to prove a
I'm
point.
really excited to have.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
go ahead. Go, finish your point. Finish your point. Because I'm going to
I was
prove
just
your
gonna
point
say,
even
I'm just
further.
really excited to have like. I was just really excited. Like, I'm really excited to have two healthy, viable chip manufacturers again in the PC space. Like, PC knows how to do that, and like the customers are winning because that's the shit that's gonna bring down the prices of PCs from a small house, is that competition, right? And so I'm super happy to see them becoming more healthy in the PC space, but I guess I didn't realize that they've been making chipsets for a lot of this stuff this whole time. I
Yep.
mean, it makes sense when, like, I hate to say it, it makes sense when you consider like cost and value and all that stuff with them trying to keep things a little bit lower. But the fact that it's been working and hitting all these high marks and working better than the better chipset, like, good for you guys. All right, that's fucking banging, man. Good, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Brett, just to prove a point that again, the MSI Claw had an Intel chip, horrible, and they had to concede the point. Now the latest MSI Claw will have an AMD chip. Because
So Intel needs to get their shit together in the
Yeah.
handheld
Yep,
space.
it's not
Okay,
good.
well, I mean, more power to them, especially with MSI pushing into the desktop space. Um, y'all gonna want to probably get your shit together and lower some of your prices from $2,000 for a fucking GPU because that shit's insane and stupid.
Did you see the latest Nvidia report? They made bank, bro. Despite the fact that despite all the stories I should say that you've heard about, with the 50 series, which some of those are pretty disturbing. Fucking PCs catching on fire, and everything. They sold a lot of them, and they're making super bank.
I mean, they're riding their own reputation, but
Yeah.
they're also riding it downward. So, like, we've seen this happen before, and like, I don't know if the suits are aware of this. They're just burned. Like, the 50 series has been a bit of a train wreck, especially on the higher models, like the 5090s, like, for like the 5080s. Like, I feel like I'd be kind of pissed. I saw some of those benchmarks. A lot of the 50 series can barely hit the what the 40 series was hitting. So.
In some
Brett?
cases, go ahead, Brian.
Brett, I'm sorry to tell you, but they don't care. Like, to give you an analogy, you know how Microsoft deals with Xbox? And Nvidia does the same thing with the graphics lines, well, with the with their GPUs for gaming. It is not their business. It's not their main business that they care about. It's a side hustle.
That's right.
Like, the main business of Nvidia is the AI stuff. Hence why they became like the number one company in the world because of AI. Like, they literally do not care about gaming at all anymore.
Very
Like,
upsetting, Brian. I don't know if you saw the keynote. Literally, remember, Nvidia started as a gaming GPU company, right? They devoted like maybe a couple of minutes. This is a 2-hour presentation, right? Like maybe a couple of minutes to their GPUs, and the rest was just AI.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yep, that's why they're so high and mighty and they don't care, because they're like, okay, you don't buy it, you buy it, we don't care. Like, what, we lose 2% of sales?
It's crazy, man.
What's
Yeah,
that?
well, like the thing that pisses me off is like, so like gamers are sitting here having just a fucking big old time, and then the crypto bros come through and realize they can make cheaper crypto and more efficient crypto mining rigs by using GPUs, so they spike up the price. Meanwhile, Intel's just sitting there being like, yeah, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are going to pay that, then we'll jack up the price too. And they just rode that cash wave, just sinking money into AI and AI and AI, and they're like, I just fuck gamers and just kind of left them behind. Like, it's just ooh. But yeah, I'm glad AMD's coming up on their heels now. I feel like they're that comically sinister antagonist that's like, I'm totally gonna win, and they adjust their rearview mirror, and then like, and they're like, look in the rearview mirror, they're like, impossible, and AMD's like creeping up behind over the horizon. So
Yeah.
AMD's being the little chip company they could. So
Yeah,
for you
no, they're
guys.
doing great.
You
Again,
guys.
when it comes to handhelds or desktop CPUs, they're doing great stuff. And
Yeah, their new desktop, like,
yeah,
if I encourage anybody who hasn't been keeping up on this shit and is considering a new GPU, like, look into the new AMD line. Like, their benchmarks are banging pretty hard, man. And for like a really, really like $700, I don't hold me to this, but I swear to God, they were saying shit like $700 could damn near match the benchmarks of a 5080.
that's crazy. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I wanted to talk about that PlayStation story to lead into this one that I really want to talk about. According to a report from Windows Central, our boy Jess Corden, Microsoft had. Okay, remember we just talked about a story about how Sony may be potentially working on a new handheld. Here's a story about Xbox apparently scrapping their handheld plans. So as we previously reported here on Throwdown, the reports say that, and none of this is like entirely confirmed, but it's coming from pretty solid sources, that this year we're gonna see an Xbox themed handheld from a major manufacturer believed to be Asus, and then in 2027 we're gonna see an Xbox handheld from Microsoft. That one, the latter, has apparently been canceled because Microsoft's like, okay, we'll just let other guys handle this stuff. Pretty interesting.
They're pulling a Steam. They're pulling a Steam.
Yeah,
They're pulling a Steam.
kind of. And by the way, man, I'm glad you bring this up because I have a theory about the Steam Deck. That might be relevant to this conversation. But yeah, so that's what the report says. Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
I gotta ask because I'm not sure if I had this as like a fever dream in the Odin sleep or whatever. But like, I swear to God, I heard a rumor that Steam might be coming to Xbox. Is there any?
I've heard that report. I've heard the report too. That hasn't been official yet, but that's what the reports are saying, and it's kind of starting to come from more credible sources. It was initially just a flat out rumor, but now it's becoming a little bit. It's gaining traction, I should say, Brett. It's gaining traction.
Okay. Yes, I heard it whispered on the wind during
Yeah.
the Odin sleep.
Whisper
Yeah,
in the wind.
It'll be really interesting if that's actually the case. That would make sense for them to kind of pull out of the handheld market, because they get Steam makes it easier to access your Game Pass on your Steam Deck, and Xbox makes it easy to access your Steam games, or your Steam library on your Xbox. And that'd be kind of a good trade-off. So it's kind of one of those like, why reinvent the wheel when you can just partner with somebody who's already made the wheel?
Yeah. But I want to get in. I want to read a little bit because if this is true, this is actually very promising. Because if you guys know, if you've been listening to me or read any of my articles or seen any of my videos over Tom's Guide, you will know that my biggest complaint with gaming handhelds is Windows 11 because it's shit for handhelds. So this is what the report says. New report from Windows Central suggests that plans for a Microsoft-developed Xbox handheld have been sidelined so that Microsoft's full focus can be on improving Windows 11's performance on third-party handheld PCs. This is something I've been asking for. This news comes as a disappointment as rumors regarding an official Xbox handheld have circulated for a while and have been addressed. Not a disappointment to me. If they say fuck our own handheld, we're gonna focus on making Windows 11 work great on handhelds because that is the main crux. That is the main thing that has been holding back handhelds. To prove a point, my manager took an RG Ally X, removed Windows 11, installed Steam OS on it, saw 25% better performance, 25% better battery life because there's not all that bloat, that you get from Windows 11. So now, as we know, Valve has put out SteamOS for anybody to use on handhelds, and there are now devices outside of the Steam Deck that have the SteamOS on it. So this is exciting. I think this is great, because I would like it if we have options for machines that have Windows 11 and SteamOS, like that would be good. But Windows 11 needs to be better for handhelds, because the reason you want Windows 11 is because it's more versatile, obviously, than SteamOS. So if you want to dump more shit into there, but it's just all that bloat from Windows 11 just holds these machines back. So I hope this report is true. This is pretty exciting stuff, So we'll see. And again, remember, there's still that rumor that Asus is coming out with an Xbox handheld this year. We'll see about that, but it makes sense that it would be Asus, since when Asus debuted the ROG Ally, who was there, and I was there. I was right there in New York. Who was there in the room? Microsoft. So I'm not surprised by that. So we'll see. And real quick, because I was already teasing it. This right here, people. This is let me turn it on too. This is the machine I've been waiting for. This is the Legion Go S, the first non-Valve machine with SteamOS on it. And this has the same specs as the ROG Ally, bro. The AMD Ryzen Z1 chip. I was playing this shit earlier, bro. Oh, first of all, just like Steam Deck, I got this shit up and running in like 5 minutes. Fast. Downloaded my games. The performance is crazy. Adam, this thing is fucking awesome. This is a Steam Deck. This is a Steam Deck.
Is that the upgrade? Is that the upgraded one? Because remember there was 2 models that they showed.
Well, this is the other one. This is the regular one. Let me turn it on. This is the Legion Go S with Windows 11, right? But here's the difference, right? And people were confused, because I was led to believe that, because this has the AMD Z2 Go chip, right? Which is actually not as powerful as the Z1 Extreme. This has a Z1 Extreme. This kills this fucking console, bro. And here's the thing, Adam. The Windows 11 one, the one that performs worse, costs $150 more because of the fucking Microsoft license. See,
if Microsoft really wanted to be out there, they could have ate that cost. They don't need to charge anything. It's like, put it out there. Let's get this word out that we're.
So, Adam, this is the Hugo killer right here, bro.
Goodbye, Hugo. Hello, Fernando.
Yeah. And by the way, just to prove a point, see, Adam was not against other handhelds. He just didn't like Windows 11. You're like, ooh, SteamOS. Tell me more,
That's it. Exactly. That's what it is. It's just an easier platform to work with, and they're always updating it. There's always updates and improvements and fixes, and you don't, like you said before, all the bloat. You don't have pop-ups and all this other crap taking you out and forcing you to go to the dashboard to do some shit. Yeah, there's a desktop on for the
Steam, it's optional.
It's optional. Shit, you don't. I can't even remember the last time I booted into that one.
No, Adam, look at this one. I turn it on. What do I see? Fucking Windows. Look at this shit. A lot of
bullshit Windows.
Bullshit Windows. And I haven't used this in a while. It took me 2 hours to update everything. It's fucking insane. On the other one with SteamOS, 5 minutes, I was ready to play.
So what's the specs on it? Does that one have like a 1 terabyte SSD or what's
I believe it's 516 gigs.
516 gigs.
Yeah, but I could double check. But the fact that it has a Z1 Extreme chip, it's so fucking good, man. It also has a better because you know how AMD has their own version of DLSS, the upscaling and stuff. Mm-hmm. This has a better upgraded version of that. So, for example, on Steam Deck, dude, Doom: The Dark Ages, that shit's running at 22 frames a second. Horrible. On this shit, I got it to run at 60, close to 60. On medium settings and everything.
Does that one? No.
It doesn't
detect.
No, it doesn't do that. Okay. But the Legion Go 2 that's coming out this year with an OLED screen does have detachable. And Adam, and I asked them, because I went to a Lenovo event last night where they gave us the console. I asked them this. I know they weren't going to answer it, but I asked them okay, so you have the Legion Go S, two operating systems, right? Will you have 2 operating systems available for the Legion Go 2? They just told me we're not talking about that right now. That's what they told me. They said we're not talking about. That's not a no.
No, that's not a no.
Yeah.
It'll probably give you that option once you boot up. It'll be a dual boot.
Oh,
It's like, which one do you want?
The tea leaves were like slapping you in the face.
Yeah.
Although they're probably not, they want to charge you for two different ones, you know. But I'm excited, like, because that one has a Z2 Extreme, bro. That's gonna be nuts. So yeah, the future of handhelds is bright, man. And yeah, all I'm gonna say is this, because I'm not gonna say nothing. Watch Summer Game Fest, bro. Watch Summer Game Fest. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Jay Shep, I heard you heard that part, bro. All right, moving on. Yeah, what's up, Brett?
Man, I just really want to throw in there, like, the one thing that I had found out during, or one of the things I found out during this whole thing, the future proofing of handhelds and to a lesser extent laptops, as bro, I just got my Google Fiber upgraded to whatever current version IP6 they're using, and holy shit, like I'm getting internal streaming speeds of like 6 gigs a second, something like that. Like it's fucking stupid. So I cannot tell a button latency when I'm streaming across my home network.
Nice.
And it does not matter who is doing what, how many TVs are on, playing 4K or whatever. Like it just does not fucking matter. So
we got
just
all the
ability
bandwidths.
Welcome to the
just the ability
future.
to cast my laptop, just my Steam Deck, wherever I'm at. Like I played Oblivion Remastered. Like I booted up and I was like, oh shit, this is god awful on the Steam Deck. And then I streamed it and I was like, oh, this shit's buttery smooth.
Really?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, man.
Brian.
Let's move on. Man, you'll like this story. Your boy Shuhei Yoshida, he's doing the tour again. He's saying something that we've already kind of known. He believes that subscription services like Xbox Game Pass hurt developers.
Yes, they do.
As we've seen many
All
times.
streaming services do. Spotify hurts. Music.
Netflix, all of it hurts
it.
even Spotify, it all hurts the industry. I mean, if Patti LaBelle, it wasn't Patti LaBelle, it's I can't remember what her name was. And she was like saying how much she actually gets off of someplace like Spotify, and it's just shit.
Yeah,
it's great for the consumer and it's awful for the actual developers. Now, that's a caveat. That depends on the company, what the company's investment is on it. So when Microsoft was fully into getting people onto their service, what they were doing is they were paying some pretty damn good checks to people to develop for their thing. But and obviously it's really good to get that nice big shot in the arm when you're a developer and you need that especially with how much I don't know, I can't remember what they said that they offered, but at least some developers have expressed it's a pretty good chunk of their budget that they get just to develop for Game Pass, right? But if you notice, as the years have gone on, Microsoft has slowly but surely pulled away from doing any of those types of investments. Though they were doing those things to try to get more games on their consoles. Now the fact that they bought like 2 major game studios, there's nothing they need to pay for, And right now, so obviously, again, like I think, it's in one way it's good to have it, but not like to put all your eggs in that one basket. Locking yourself behind an exclusivity deal with somebody like a Microsoft or any of the other ones, that'll probably not be very good for you in the long run. That's part of the reason on why you notice that a studio like the companies that did Cuphead, they moved away from Microsoft, and a lot of the other studios that they had sort of, who weren't purchased by them essentially moved away and released their games multi-platform.
Yeah. So this is what he says. It's a good quote. Because he's talking about like a probable future. He's not talking about right now. And he wasn't specifically talking about Game Pass. He was talking about Game
Pass. And game services in general.
No, because Kuel's already in the chat defending Game Pass. He wasn't talking about Game Pass specifically. He's talking about game services, right? Game subscription services. He goes, if the only way for people to play games is through subscriptions, that's really dangerous because what type of games can be created will be dictated by the owners of the subscription services. That's really, really risky because there always must be fresh new ideas tried by small developers that create the next wave of development. But if the big companies dictate what games can be created, I don't think that will advance the industry. I agree with that.
Okay, hold the fuck on.
Yeah.
One, that shit already happens. All right, like I just gotta call bullshit sometimes. Like, so like is he advocating for some sort of radicalization of small development teams or some way to like fund or source development teams? Because yeah, like this shit is like big for or bad for big game studios and things like that. But like what's the fucking alternative, man? Paying $100 for fucking video games? Like the way that we are moving is unsustainable. That has been clear. It's like they've been ringing the sirens on that thing for 5 goddamn years now, and you guys keep cranking up the prices on big games. Like the way that we're doing now, that future is not sustainable. Like constant upward mobility. Like you're having people leaving Ubisoft to make the game that they want with 32 developers and a dog and fucking trouncing Ubisoft, right? Like the structure of these things is these glass are getting so big that they are literally crumbling as they move. And it just sounds like that's, I don't know, maybe I'm getting pissy here, but like it sounds that's kind of developing or defending the old guard mentality. And yeah, I don't think subscription services are necessarily great for big studios. But I think that's big studios a lot of time mismanaging their budgets. Smaller studios have to work on much smaller budgets. So having early release programs or early access programs or things like Game Pass can help them not go out of business. Like sometimes it's the difference between life and death for a small company. And yeah, it can be for a big company too, but that's because of their gross negligence and irresponsibility that isn't necessarily present with small indie developers. Like I don't see this quote as being as indie dev friendly as it comes across.
No, Brett, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying, but I think you're misinterpreting what he said. He's literally saying if the only way, that's the key, if the only way for people to get games is through subscriptions, then the big corporations can dictate what type of games get played, get made, and then, innovations isn't go nowhere. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that's already happening.
But you could buy games separately. He's saying if the only way to play games is through subscriptions, you could buy games. You could buy games physically. That's still an option.
Or you can buy them on other stores.
Yeah.
Like it's like in a future where everything is dominated by something like a Netflix or a Spotify, right?
Mm-hmm.
If these things are the only place that you can get your thing,
only place, that's why I said this is hypothetical. This is hypothetical he was talking about,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, but Tony, you hate hypotheticals, number one.
But just to put the
you
premise
can still buy
there.
movies, you can still buy CDs. There is no world in which you can only stream games.
Yeah, we're not talking about now. We're talking about a potential future. He's talking about that.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there is no potential future.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The way things are going.
Show me one example of where streaming has stopped you from being able to buy a product.
Yeah, but you already said we already live in that world.
All the music stores that were gone. I mean, we used to have music stores everywhere, all the big ones, and they all disappeared. Now it's like a niche
you
thing
can
to
still
go
buy it
find a CD.
Unless we're talking about like we don't own the things that we buy. That's a whole different fucking conversation. I'm in on that conversation. That shit's bullshit. But like. I mean, I don't see streaming like, Netflix doesn't stop me from like going on and buying a movie on Prime. Now, do I own it on Prime?
No, you're right. But
go ahead.
A lot
of their movies are locked behind their own service too. you can't buy Cyberpunk Edge Runners on any platform, or or on DVD or Blu-ray. You can't buy, let's say, the Black Mirror if you want to watch any of those on your own out of that service, or any of the other shows that they've purely canceled. They're digital. They're essentially, lost media now. So
Yeah.
that's the sort of future that we're sort of talking about. Where, in other words,
Yeah, no,
everything
no,
is
no.
controlled by these big services, which obviously, at least for right now, there's those other options. Microsoft finds that having both the streaming service, the service, as well as selling their games on other platforms has been lucrative for them, right? So
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm becoming increasingly untrusting of, like, okay, so who's this guy? Is he working AAA or
He
indie game
used to
development?
he used to work for Sony. He left.
and
he
he
retired.
used to work for, he was the head of Worldwide Studio, Sony Worldwide Studio, before
Wait, who are you talking about?
Shuhei Yoshida,
Shuhei
bro. You
Yoshida.
know him.
He was
Oh,
the
dude,
head
okay,
of.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
I should know this. Okay,
Yeah, you know
okay.
Shuhei.
Yeah,
Remember
he was
the passing? How do you trade games on PlayStation? This is how that
Yeah,
dude.
He was the,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. I
He's
didn't
cool.
hear the name.
Yeah. So basically, because I know Brett, you've been out of the loop. Shuhei, after he left Sony, he's just been spilling all the beans and being just very candid about shit. You know.
Yeah, like he's been saying
I
a
just
lot
didn't
of
realize
stuff. Like,
he was just retired now. I thought he was like consulting on AAA
No,
games
no,
instead.
no.
Or
He retired and now
He
he's just
hasn't-
being very candid about everything. You know.
like, yeah, he's like, there's some serious things that he talked about, like as far as development and a bunch of different things, that like things that we thought like this might have, we've suspected these things, and he's confirmed them. So
yeah,
in this situation, but let's say for the last thing, like for Yoshida, he was essentially moved out of the Worldwide Studios, head of Worldwide Studios, and during that transitions, Jim Ryan, let's put that out there, gave him a choice. You can leave, or you can stay and be head of the indie relations. And he said this.
oh no. I liked Jim Ryan so much before learning this information.
Yeah, no.
Yes,
Shuhei
you love
dropped
him, right?
spilled the beans, bro.
He
Yeah.
spilled the beans. He said he probably he's like, there's certain things that he wouldn't have signed through that are going through now, and he's like, I'm sure that's probably why I didn't work at that place, at that part of it. I would have shot it down immediately.
Shit.
And this was some of the service game initiative stuff.
And I don't get me wrong, like I respect the hell out of his opinion. So like I'm step down from my soapbox and I'm recontextualizing this here for a minute. So I would agree with him on certain aspects. And one of those things that I would have to ask, I guess I'm just asking you guys just because I'm stirring the pot here. Would y'all consider Steam to fall under that purview?
No, because it's not a
Because
subscription
if so,
service.
Yeah, it's not a subscription service.
Nor is it a streaming service, but it is a service that you buy a storefront that you buy all your games through. Like they don't charge you a subscription fee; they charge it to the developers as a 30% thing. But they pretty much have that market cornered. Their algorithms decide what gets pushed to the top. They can help a game succeed or fail simply on whether or not they want to spotlight it. So like a lot of the problems that he's brought up there do exist when you're talking about digital storefronts. When you kind of expand the conversation from just straight, streaming only to digital storefronts, because I don't think that we're ever going to see a future where you're streaming only. What I think is that they'll more quietly and insidiously slip in the whole like you'll buy everything and own nothing kind of thing, and that'll be tied to like the algorithms which push products into storefronts. And then, yeah, the big companies can decide what kind of games they want to get made, and those are the only games that get shown. And so, even if you're an indie developer, now you have to play by their rules, or you're not going to be shown on their storefront. Blah 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 blah. So, like, if you expand it just a little bit, I'm right there with you. So, but I don't think that we're gonna ever just reach us straight up like, yep, you can only stream, because I can go out and buy a shitty Final Destination movie right now. I can buy it online. I can go to Walmart and buy it on a DVD. And you know, the DVD players, like, Jesus, I have to try and find one at this point, but
You
like
have one. It's called an Xbox.
I do, but
Also,
like,
PlayStation is one
Yeah,
too.
I mean, Brett, that's how I watch DVDs. Put it on the PlayStation. You're good to go.
dude, if you put it on the PlayStation, you can't hear it over the fucking disc drive.
Yeah, well, mine has a disc drive, so I'm good. You know?
Oh, my disc drive's loud as fuck.
Yeah, no.
But not on my. But I'd like next gen. I'm like, bro, like I don't think I don't have a disc drive in my computer. Next gen, I might not have one in any of my systems. Like, yeah, hard media is going to be tough to come by, and so that conversation spirals into a bunch of different, more complicated conversations. I don't see a place like I can go out and I can buy a CD. I think I know I could buy an album. I can buy an MP3. God, it sound old. Um, but like I can do all of that. Streaming hasn't. It's minimized it. It's made it niche. It's driven a lot of it digitally because the overhead is so low. But like I can still buy almost any media that I
Yeah. No
want.
one's
And
denying that, though. No one's denying that about current
wait,
day.
hold on. Well, I'm saying, so like, why would video games be different?
I think because of the trend that's been happening the last, 10 years, where it's like 80% of gamers just buy shit digitally. I think maybe that's where that's coming from.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking he's looking at the way the way other industries have started to move. You know, like especially the music industry, and I would say the music industry specifically because, you know, that's where Sony's PlayStation's game dev division started. You know, from
Yeah.
the music side of things. So I'm thinking he's looking at the music industry and seeing how much of a state that is in right now. Where, in other words, all the artists that are on there aren't making any money off of anything they put out there, and obviously, like you said, the algorithm chooses what things to put on there. Unless you
Now I
have
want to
unless
ask this. I'm sorry. After Manny's finished, I
oh no
want to
no go
ask
ahead
something.
go ahead
Sorry, Manny.
no go ahead go ahead.
Um, are streaming, because like I know at one point, things like Spotify were, you know, bad for big artists, but there was a benefit for smaller artists. Has that environment
No,
evaporated completely?
it's evaporated. It's like things like Spotify are good for the bigger artists who make actual deals with Spotify. But like
Oh, okay.
there are definitely a lot of artists, you know, that are well known that don't have those as good a deals as, let's say, you know, somebody like I don't know, what's her name, the maybe Beyonce, right? She probably has a better Spotify deal than somebody like Anita Baker, who said that Spotify pays shit.
Oh, I would have thought it would have been a flat thing, but yeah, man. Hmm. The more insidious thing that I would be watched for, like I'd be, I'd just be afraid everybody's sitting there watching, waiting for streaming games to be a thing, and here comes Fortnite as a different beast that just Fortnite then becomes like, but Fortnite I would consider to be part of that category of things that are a sort of a threat, because you can't just download Fortnite, you can't own Fortnite, you have to log into Fortnite. Right now, Fortnite's just going to be 47 different fucking games, right? And so you
It
just log
already
into
is.
Fortnite and everything's, and that type of thing. Like if you qualify that as the kind of shit that he's talking about, that becomes like dangerous. So that's why I'm kind of like, I think if I expand the conversation just a little bit, I can get behind a lot of the stuff that he's saying.
Yeah.
Not one to one though. Like I mad respect, but I just don't see that world ever happen.
Yeah. I, you know, I think physical stuff would just become niche. It's not going to go anywhere, but the dominant thing will be digital for sure. Because it's just easy. People, they prefer convenience. I know we live in a bubble, when it comes to gamers. Like in our world, people, if we were just to look at our little world, or even on Twitter, you would think physical games rule the roost, but that's not the case, unfortunately.
Well, no, I mean, I can go on Game Pass and then buy the game that I am playing on Game Pass and own that. Like the streaming on Game Pass has no bearing on whether or not I can own the thing. So like I agree that it's gonna be more prevalent. I'm like, I don't know if it's ever replaced it. But again, that's I'm beating a dead horse at this point. That's
yeah. All right. But real quick. City Slicker 0. It looks like what's going on. He goes, a difference between games and other media is I'll play a game I love for hundreds or even thousands of hours, so I'm willing to spend $70 on it, and I don't want to sub for it. I mean, yeah, no, there's people that do that. And you still have that option. There's people who are like, if the game's not like, if it's only available digitally, they won't even fuck with it, even if it's a great game. They're like, I can't buy physical. Fuck that. So I get it, but most people, they're just like, I just want my fucking game. I don't care how I get it. Oh, it's digital? I'll get it though. I don't care, because they're only going to play the first 25% of it anyway, as we've seen from various studies, trophies and all that stuff. All right. So
I've bought games that have left Game Pass. Like I've actually been one of the few people that might have had sales driven by subscription service.
Yeah. No, they like guys like you because you will buy it, but most people are just like, it's on Game Pass. I just want to play it if it's on there, but if it's not, I'm not going to play it. There's a lot of people like that too,
I know they got to him.
Yeah, he froze up.
Oh, they got me?
Uh-oh.
Am I frozen?
Oh, look at him. He was fake. He was AI all along. Oh my god. Not Tony too.
Did the stream freeze up?
Let's see let's send him a message and see what's up.
I'm fine. What the fuck are you guys talking about?
Exactly.
All right, what I'll do is, since the stream is still going, you guys can hear me, I'm gonna disconnect and come right back because the stream is still going. Everything's going wrong tonight, people, but I'm still here with you, Actually, let me know if you can hear me. You hear your boy. Because as you can see right now, it says I'm good. It's they can hear me, guys. So something's going on with Discord. So let me actually reset Discord, and I'll keep you entertained in the meantime, because they think something's wrong, but I'm still here. For some reason tonight, guys, things have been going wrong. Like fucking OBS decided I'm just gonna stop working 20 minutes in, like because it said my stream key wasn't valid. I'm like, how are you gonna tell me that during the middle of a stream, bruh? And then after that, now we got this. Look at this shit. It's trying to update it. You see this shit, right? Crazy stuff, man. I had one with by the way, the last segment, because I don't even know if we're going to get to it now, was just about the Death anime. I don't know if we're going to get to it, because I really just going to Manny just take it over, to be honest. I'm like, okay, we got to fucking, look at this shit. Yo, I can't get back to Discord. This is crazy. I don't know what's happening, man. Technology. Did you guys hear anything on Twitter about Discord being down or anything? Bro, I can't even stop this shit. These guys are probably totally what's wrong. Discord's what's up. Something about Tim Dog. I just got a message from Paris about Tim Dog melting down because Tim Dog's been going through it. If you guys have seen on Twitter, All right. You know what? I think I may just end the stream now because Discord is just fucking up. So I'm going to apologize to you guys who wanted to hear the last segment. But if you want to ask us about it throw down your questions, you're free to. Hey, what do you guys think about the Death Stranding anime? Yeah, Discord is canceled. It's canceled the fucking show, So yeah, I'll end it now. So make sure you check out Throwdown on Twitch, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on the Discord and on your favorite podcast app, people. Links to everything down below, and we'll see you on Sunday later.